Hi guys, welcome to today's video. So I'm gonna be reading cowboy romance books in this video. I've actually never read a cowboy romance, surprisingly. I'm a big romance reader. Yeah, I'm not sure why I haven't picked up a cowboy romance yet. They have been on my TBR for a while, but now I'm finally gonna be picking some up. These cowboy romances in particular have been on my TBR for quite a long time, so I'm excited to finally read them. So the first book I'm gonna be starting with is Flawless by Elsie. This is the first book in the Chestnut Spring series. This series has been on my TBR for a really long time, probably like a year at this point, and I recently acquired all of the books in the series, so it's finally time to read them. The reason why I haven't actually picked up the series earlier is because I haven't heard the best things about the first book, but I've heard really good things about the second book, Heartless, which I have a feeling I'm gonna really like. So I was undecided whether I should start with the first book and read it in order or if I should start with the second book, and I've decided I'm gonna read the series in order. I have the whole series, so I was like, why not read the whole series in order and get like the full experience? They are interconnected standalone, so you don't have to read them in order, but like you see the other characters in other books, and sometimes I don't care about reading interconnected standalone romance series in order. Sometimes I do, and I felt inclined to read this series in order. Is that the right word to use? I don't know, but that's what I'm gonna do. Also, I didn't know cowboys were a real thing. I kind of thought of them as pirates, like they weren't actually real. I don't know what makes someone a cowboy, but I guess I'm gonna find out. This book follows a professional bull rider, which I also didn't realize was a real thing. Maybe I'm stupid for not knowing that, but anyways, it follows a professional bull rider, and I think he says something that kind of ruins his image. The media is upset with him. He basically like gets cancelled for something he says or something he does. So his agent's daughter then babysits him. I think she lives with him, and she basically has to supervise him and make sure he doesn't mess up his image, make sure he doesn't do anything like bad, and his image is cleaned up basically, which is kind of a weird concept, but also sounds like fun. And so I think there's close proximity and also a little bit of forbiddenness since she is his agent's daughter, so he shouldn't cross that boundary, even though he will inevitably cross that boundary, obviously. But yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. I have seen some negative reviews that threw me off a bit, but I'm expecting a fun time and I'm really excited. Once I get into it, I will share my thoughts and more of what the book is about. There'll be no spoilers. Obviously, there's never any spoilers in my reading vlogs. And yeah, I hope you guys like this video, and if you do like my videos, please consider subscribing, because it does really help my channel, and I think most people that watch my videos aren't actually subscribed, so please consider subscribing if you like my videos. And yeah, let's get into it. I love the dedication. The dedication is, honestly, I wrote this book for myself, for the girl who never quite knew what she wanted to do with her life, and for the woman who figured it out. That's so cute. Hi guys, I do have some updates. I'm on page 128. I actually read quite a lot yesterday. I wasn't expecting to, because I did start this video kind of late in the day, and then I didn't spend a lot of time reading, but at night I was like, I need to get some reading done, and I read quite a lot. Surprisingly, I read until I was too tired to read anymore. This has been like really fast paced for me to read so far. Basically, we have Rhett, who is a professional bull rider, and he has sponsors. Some of his sponsors are like milk companies. He's like closely tied with like the farming industry, and then he gets caught saying he hates milk. which causes a lot of controversy because he's promoting milk and now he's going out saying he hates milk, and so a lot of people are angry with him. It's kind of ridiculous, but anyways, he then went on to cause more problems. He beat someone up, and so his image is very much on the slopes, on the downhill. His reputation and his image is not doing well. And so his agent is trying to figure out what to do, how to fix this, how to keep some of his other sponsors, how to fix his image. He has I think a championship writing competition coming up soon. That's in 2 months, and so he's trying to figure out what to do to fix that. His daughter, what was her name? Summer, currently works with him. She kind of comes up with the idea of someone babysitting him, and Rhett's agent is like, that's a brilliant idea. You're gonna babysit him for 2 months. And so that's what happens. Summer met some of his other family, his dad, his other brothers. He has 3 brothers, I think, or maybe 2, I'm not sure, and a sister. And I've heard so many things about the books in this series that I already kind of picked up what book is about who. It's been a lot of fun being introduced to this family and all the characters. Small town romances are like interconnected. There's like a big family, there's like childhood friends, there's all these other people, this big like community of people that you know are going to be in other books as well. I feel like that's just such a crazy vibe and I love it. So Summer's living with the Rhett. They start off on the wrong foot. They're both very frustrated with one another. Rhett obviously doesn't want a babysitter. He is kind of known as a troublemaker. He's the younger sibling. He is like 30 at this time, but he's always been like the younger sibling, the one that always gets in trouble because he wants attention. He's not really taken seriously, and so Summer's come in to like babysit him, and that just makes him very upset because he's just not taken seriously once again. Summer sees all this and she's like, I don't care, I'm going to make sure your image is fixed. And she kind of like does a really good job of babysitting him. I don't know, like managing his feelings. I don't know how to really explain it, but she kind of does a good job. But at the same time, it kind of feels like Rhett is a child. The way he behaves sometimes, like he just scoffs and won't talk because he's upset and stuff like that, which I understand, and that's kind of like the premise. But like at the same time, I'm like, you're kind of acting like a child. Like you're 30 and you're throwing a little tantrum. Like he's not like actually throwing a tantrum, but he's just like sitting there quietly, not wanting to talk about anything, not wanting to do what Summer says, and wanting to like rebel kind of. It feels like he's a teenager. And Summer has said that. She's like, I feel like I'm kind of babysitting a teenager. That part I'm not a big fan of. I feel like I'm overall not a big fan of Rhett's character. I do really like Summer's character. She's a very like strong female main character. But overall, I'm just having a fun time. I'm definitely not like in love with the story, but I'm having a fun time, excited to get into all these books. Like I am really liking the small town aspect. At the moment, this is standing at like a 4 stars. Oh my god, I love that Ali Hazelwood is blurred at the front. Also, Summer used to have like a crush on Rhett when she was like a teenager, and I find that like whole premise so much fun. I don't really have much more else to say. I'm gonna continue this, hopefully get a lot done today. I filmed a book haul today, so I need to put all these books away, so I'll show you guys that. I also need to update my reading journal, so we will do that together. Also, it's a sunny day. I'm so happy. I've been missing the sun. The last few days have been very gloomy since it is going into winter soon, but today's sunny. And I'm just happy. I'm happy. I'll update you guys once I get more into Flawless. So yeah, bye! Alright guys, so I have a lot of updates. The past few days I've been trying to update you guys on my reading and everything, but every single time I've tried to film this update, I've just hated how I look and I just feel so ugly and I don't know why. And then the lighting hasn't been working out. I've also just been feeling mentally low at the moment. I feel like I can't comprehend my thoughts very well. I've been feeling really negative about my YouTube channel. I feel like everything I'm posting is so bad, but hopefully you guys are seeing this update and I haven't scrapped another one. Today I am feeling better, but let's get on to the book updates. I did finish Flawless. I did want to update you guys earlier. That didn't happen. I finished it this morning. Where do I start? I think when I last spoke to you, I wasn't a big fan of Rhett's character. I definitely like him a lot more now. I feel like his character really warmed up to me at the start. He was really grumpy and acting a little childish because he didn't like the situation he was put in. But the way he treated Summer was so sweet. Like he really cared for her and you could see that. And he just wanted to protect her and he only had eyes for her. You could tell he was so in love with her and I loved that. I feel like this book also had a lot of mental health stuff going on. They were both going through a lot in their life. Summer, she really prioritized other people over herself and Rhett really helped her realize she should prioritize herself more and love herself more, and the current life she was living wasn't making her happy. I really like that. There was one page I folded down that was kind of about that sentiment, about not constantly doing things for other people and worrying about what other people think and trying to just do what you want to do and live for yourself. Summer also went through a lot as a teenager. She has like a very complicated family and I think she had heart surgery that went wrong, and so she was in the hospital for a really long time and she kind of found a new way of looking at life, and I really like that as well. Whereas Rhett is also kind of going through it. He is a bull rider and that is a really dangerous sport. It's a really interesting sport. At these tournaments they basically ride a bull and they get scored on like their technique and everything, and they need to stay on the bull for 8 seconds and then it's over and they get scored. But it's like extremely dangerous, like life or death. Rhett knows he's getting to the point in his career where he can't continue to keep riding bulls for much longer, but he also feels like it's all he has, like it's the only thing he has in life. But Summer kind of changes that for him and I thought that was really sweet. I feel like we really got to know these characters. I wasn't like invested in the romance. I feel like I wasn't like giggling and kicking my feet, but it was just really sweet. Although I did not like the third act breakup. I never like third act breakups, but I feel like there are definitely some that are better than others. And I feel like in the third act breakup there were things said that were just mean, and I feel like it didn't really make sense for the character to say those things. Like it wasn't believable that they would say those things, I guess, if that makes sense. But overall I really enjoyed it and I really liked the small town aspect. It was such a nice thing to read about, escapism, to be in this small town with this family and this like close-knit group of people. It was just nice to read about. Obviously the mental health stuff was a bit harder to read about. I feel like towards the end of the book it really kicked up. Like it got a bit harder for me to read about, especially when I was feeling so low. But I overall enjoyed this book. I think I'm gonna give it a 4 stars since I wasn't in love with the characters and I don't know how much I'll actually think about them after I finish this book, and I'm excited to continue the series. I think the next book is going to be about Cade because he's a single dad and he so far has been extremely grumpy and just closed off, so I'm excited for that. Cowboys, so far I am on board with Cowboys. They get a tick from me. So the next book we're gonna read is Done and Dusted by Lyla Sage. Oh, okay, this book I am really nervous for. I knew not to have high expectations because I've heard a lot of mixed reviews. I feel like I haven't seen anyone love this book, but I've seen a lot of people like it. But a few days ago, Jamie's Library posted a reading blog where she read this book and she really didn't like it. I think she gave it a 2 stars. And that just made me so nervous to read this book. Like I knew I likely am not gonna love it, but I thought it'd just be a fun, fast, easy read. But now I'm like, am I gonna hate it? Oh no. But that being said, I love the covers. of these books. I have the first one and the second one, and I love the covers so much. So even if I don't like it, I feel like I'm likely going to keep the books anyways because I just adore the covers so much. Like, they look so beautiful to me. I just love them. At first, I wasn't even going to buy this book. I was going to read it on Kindle Unlimited, but I just really wanted the covers. I don't remember what this book is about. I think I'm just going to go into it blind pretty much. Like, I do know what it's about, but I can't be bothered remembering. But yeah, I have heard it's a really fast read, and it is short. Oh my god. Oh, it is like 300 pages. I think I'm going to spend most of today reading this. I am behind on my reading because of the past few days I haven't been feeling good. I'll see you guys soon. Sorry guys, but I need to talk about one more thing regarding Flawless. So towards the end of the book, I read this line that I thought was offensive. Like, when I first read it, I was like, I feel like that's offensive, but maybe I'm reading too much into it. I don't know, it kind of took me off guard because I was like, I really did not expect to see something like that in this book and to not have heard anyone talk about it. I continued reading and I finished the book. I told you my thoughts, but then I had lunch and I was thinking about it more, and I was like, no, I feel like I need to talk about it. It was offensive, and I went and had a look at other reviews, other like 2- and 1-star reviews, to see if anyone else had said anything about it, but I couldn't find anything. So I was like, okay, let me research this and see if I'm right, if it is offensive, because it's something that's not really talked about a lot, the words that we use. But I was like, there's no way that's a appropriate wording to use. Let me tell you the line. Okay, it was on page 377. Rhett was talking about his friend Theo, who also rides bulls, and he convinced Theo to ride a helmet. And he said, I'll say this word for word, but basically that the buckle bunnies, which are like the women that come to these bull riding events and stuff, that the buckle bunnies will still want him if he wears a helmet because they prefer the walking, talking version of him to the vegetable version of him. I don't think using the word vegetable is appropriate when referring to disabled people. As soon as I read that, I was like, there's no way that is appropriate wording to use. But I hadn't seen anyone talk about it. I feel like I don't hear that word used very often at all. Obviously, the arsler is a word I feel like most people know is inappropriate. A lot of people still use it, but a lot of people know that's an appropriate word to use. It's ableist, it's a slur, but I don't hear this word used very often. And so I was like, I think it's inappropriate, but I hadn't seen anyone talk about it, so I looked it up, and from what I gathered, it is very much inappropriate to call someone that, call a disabled person a vegetable. Like, it's just dehumanizing and it's ableist, and that was my assumption. And so I don't know why that was put in this book and why it wasn't edited out, why no one has said anything. I have no idea. Maybe people have said something and I just haven't heard it or seen it, but it is crazy to me how this is such a popular book and no one has said anything about that line. And so I'm like second guessing myself. I'm like, am I incorrect? I personally am not disabled. I can't say I'm offended by it because I'm not disabled. But I felt like I needed to talk about it. I couldn't just pretend I hadn't read that and I didn't see it. I needed to say something, and I feel like it's important to me that I talk about these things on my channel. That's just really upsetting. And I don't think the author, Elsie Silver, intended to be offensive. I think she doesn't know that, but I don't know how you wouldn't know that was inappropriate. I don't know. Even just the wording I don't like. The way they're like, oh, these women will like you better if you're not disabled. That comes off so bad to me. I don't know. Am I crazy? I feel like now I had like a sour taste in my mouth from this book, just knowing that that line is in there, and I can't forget that I read that. I'm going to move on from it. I'm going to stop talking about this book, but I needed to say something. I couldn't just pretend I didn't read it. Jinxie. I've got 3 cats on my bed right now. And I only have a double bed, so I'm like running out of room. It is the next day and I'm currently on page 208 of Done and Dusted. So I did quite a lot of reading. I stayed up quite late last night reading. Okay, I have a lot of things to say about this book. Okay, firstly, I'm going to tell you what it's about. Let's just start there. We're following Emmy, also known as Clementine, and Luke. Emmy comes from this small town called Meadowlark. Her family lives on this ranch called Blue Rocks Ranch, something like that. And she grew up riding horses. She loved riding horses. It was one of her favorite things to do. And then she moved over to Denver when she turned, I think, 18. And she made a career out of riding horses. She always wanted to leave the small town. Like, she couldn't wait to leave. I don't think we've found out why she wanted to leave yet, but she's always wanted to leave. She has her dad, her mom passed away when she was young. She has 2 other brothers, which older brother Wes is in the 2nd book, I think, and then her other brother Gus is in the 3rd book, which hasn't come out yet. Her brothers are friends with Luke, especially Gus. He's been best friends with Luke since they were very young. Luke has been like a part of their family. Luke didn't have a good home life. He was always causing trouble, looking for attention. He didn't have any good guidance around him, and so that's where Emmy's family really looked out for him and made him feel like he had a home. But he was still very troubled as like a teenager, and that's how Emmy kind of knew him. They would always argue together. I think there's 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I think there's a 5-year age gap between them. So when Luke was like 18, she was 13. And so she was a lot younger. They were just constantly always arguing. They never got along. He would always pick on her, along with Gus. And so Emmy is living in Denver, and then she has an accident on her horse, and it was really traumatic. So she picks up all her things, leaves Denver, and comes back to her hometown. Her best friend Teddy still lives in this hometown, and I'm really excited for her book because the banter we're seeing with her and who she's going to be with in this book is so good. So I'm very excited for that book. But she comes back to her small town and she sees Luke again for the first time in like years, and as soon as he sees her, he's like obsessed with her. That is giving insta love. It's kind of giving insta love because as soon as he sees her, he's like, oh my god, she's so gorgeous. I don't remember her being this pretty. Like, I'm obsessed with her. He's talking to her. He cares so much about her. And so he's just like obsessed with her. But he's saying he didn't used to be. Like, before, she was a lot younger, obviously, so he wouldn't have liked her because that would have been weird if he liked her back then. But he sees her for the first time and straight away he's obsessed with her. And I'm like, okay, it's giving insta love. But Emmy is like, this guy's really annoying. But then she starts to see he's not all that bad. He has changed a lot, and he has a big heart, and he's really like caring for her, and he obviously really likes her, so he's like trying really hard to show her that he has grown and stuff. And I feel like it's giving insta love. And literally there's a blurb on the front by Lana Ferguson that says, a sweet slow burn, sunshine in written form. This is not a slow burn, it's giving insta love. As soon as he saw her, he's not in love with her, but he's like obsessed with her, and he's like, I've never felt this way before. I feel like I would have wanted more of that back and forth banter between them because they used to not get along at all. Oh my god, my hair looks so fried in this angle, in this lighting. Guys, don't look at that. Look at that. Don't look. Oh my god, that's so bad. My hair is fried. Like, this is all breakage. But I haven't dyed my hair. Well, I haven't bleached my hair in a really long time, actually. I've stopped bleaching it and I've dyed it brown. Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, it's kind of giving insta love. And it's also not that interesting, but I've been reading it so quickly. Tell me how that adds up. I don't know. I've just been reading it really quickly. Also, I feel like the writing isn't the best. I feel like it doesn't flow very well. A lot of the way sentences are like worded is just weird. I just feel like it wasn't written the best. It's kind of giving Wattpad. Am I enjoying it? Kind of. But it's not really that interesting. I feel like I don't even really know Emmy that well. I don't know her character that well. And I'm literally like 200 pages into the book. But the way he like talks about her and thinks about her is really, really sweet. And he just genuinely really wants to help her and care for her. She is obviously going through it because of her incident with her horse. And he helps her through it so well. It's so sweet. Like, it is really, really sweet, and that's been giving me like such a giddy feeling, just a really good happy feelings reading this man who's so obsessed with her and really cares about her and like shows her that, and that's super sweet. But I feel like the insta love, the writing, it's not that great. But I'm also not disappointed because I like expected it. So I am reading it super quick and I think I'll finish it today. But like the cowboy aspect, so much fun. I'm loving cowboys. I should have read a cowboy book earlier. I'm interested to see if the other books in the series will be better, if it will be less insta-lovey or if it's all going to be the same. The next book in the series doesn't actually intrigue me that much. I do own it. I literally have 3 cats on my bed right now. I'm such a crazy cat lady and I wouldn't want it any other way. I love cats. Ugh. I think I'll show you guys this. We've got number 1. And then we have number 2, Big Jassy. And then we've got number 3. This is literally my side of the bed. And they've just taken it. They've taken my blanket. They're all sleeping. It's so cute. I think I like this little life. I think I like this little life. I'm gonna spend the rest of the day reading. It is a super windy day today. Like, it hasn't been raining, but it's just been so gloomy and windy and cold. I'm gonna stay in bed. I'm gonna be reading. I'm gonna be cozy, and I'll update you guys once I've finished it, most likely. Okay, hi guys. I just filmed a physical TBR video going through every book on my physical TBR. I think that took me like an hour to film, but I decided as soon as I finished that video, I'm gonna update you guys on my thoughts. So I did finish Done and Dusted last night and I gave it a 3.25 stars. Overall, I think this book was kind of really boring. It was a bit of a snooze fest. It really wasn't that interesting. I thought about giving it a 3 stars, but I feel like since I did read it really quickly and there wasn't really anything necessarily bad about the book, it was just boring and I didn't hate it. Like, I definitely didn't hate this book. If I hated it, I would have given it like a 2 or a 2.5. I don't have any negative feelings towards it, but I also don't have really positive feelings. It was just a very meh book. I read it really quickly. I liked the characters. I feel like I also didn't even know the characters that well though. I mean, it was really sweet the way he cared about her, but you see that in every romance book, you know? It's nothing special. So those are all my thoughts. I really don't have that much to say. Hopefully I like the other books more. I kind of have a feeling I'm gonna feel the same about them, but I'll have to see. Okay, for the next book I'm gonna read in this video, I was really undecided between 2 books. I knew I wanted to read a book on Kindle Unlimited and I was in between Here With Me or Tame the Heart. On my May TBR I had both of them and I was like, I'm gonna decide when it comes to it which book I want to read. And I think I'm gonna go with Here With Me. It's a ex-boyfriend's dad relationship and that just is drawing my attention. Like, it sounds like fun. I feel like the last 2 books I read, they were fun, but I feel like I wasn't loving it. I don't know. I'm kind of in the mood for a really fun book and I feel like I'm gonna get that with this. So I've decided to go with this one. If I'm not liking it, I can always read the other book. It's a small town romance, age gap. I think I'm going to spend most of today reading. I finished filming the video I wanted to film and there's not really much else I need to do. So yeah. Hi guys, so before we get into the book updates, I need to show you guys something this little one did. He chewed up my cover. I didn't even like this book that much. I just wanted to keep it because the cover's pretty. And he chewed on it while I was sleeping. Moving on. I have quite a few book updates, so I've written them down on notes. So that's why I'm looking down, but okay. Well, it's not a lot. It kind of is. Let's just get into it. So I did start Here With Me. I got to page 40 and decided to DNF it. I wasn't really enjoying it. Firstly, the author decided that for every word that ends with a G, she replaced the G with an apostrophe to like give the characters like a southern accent for like the cowboy vibes. But it got really annoying really quickly, like every single word. So instead of walking, it was walking, talking, doing, every single word. And I just couldn't take the book seriously when I was reading it like that in my head, and that's what I heard. And also a lot of like the slang used and stuff was just, it felt so over the top. I couldn't get past it. Also, the book starts with the two main characters having a one-night stand. And I'm not a big fan of when that happens in books. I think I knew that was going to happen, but I still wanted to give it a go. But I find that kind of just breaks the tension. I like in a romance book when we're building up the tension and when like the first kiss is a big deal. But I feel like when that happens already at the start of the book, it breaks that tension and it's not as exciting, I guess. Also, like I just wasn't really that invested in the story. I know I was only 40 pages in, but I really wasn't into it, so I stopped reading it. So then I decided to pick up Tame the Heart, and straight off the bat wasn't into it. The first sentence we got from the female main character was her favorite things were hearts, sunshine, and something else. Straight off the bat, that's giving like quirky, silly female main character. That just made me laugh out loud as soon as I read that. I don't know if I'm being too harsh. It's just like, oh, I love rainbows and puppies and butterflies. I'm sorry, that's just what it gave straight away. I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep reading. I read probably like 10 pages, was not into it. I did not like the film main character, did not like where the story was going. I know I only read like a few pages, but I could just tell I wasn't gonna like it. So then I went on a deep dive on TikTok looking for a different cowboy romance to read. I tried out a few other books, I read a few pages. In conclusion, I'm not in the mood for a cowboy romance. So I'm gonna end this video here. I know I could have read another Chestnut Springs book, but I just wasn't in the mood for it. The last time I read like a fantasy book was a month ago. I've just been reading all romance this entire month and I want to pick up something else. I wasn't in the mood for a cowboy book, so I didn't want to force myself to read a book I wasn't enjoying. So yeah, I'm gonna end this video here. I'm sorry I only read 2 books, but I tried. Also, my outfit today is giving cowboy vibes and that wasn't even intentional. I love my overalls. I wear them throughout winter, but they didn't fit anymore. And I was so sad. But I got a new pair today that fit. And I'm so happy to be wearing these all the time. I think that's all I had to share with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end, comment this emoji. Let me know your thoughts on any of these books or literally comment anything. I love talking to you guys. And I have a bookstagram, a book TikTok, and a Goodreads you can all follow. And that's it. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Bye.